It feels. So I just want to welcome you all. Welcome. It's good to see you all. I want to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. I can't think of any better place I would rather be than with you tonight after this week. What a week of ups and downs, and a week of celebration, but also really a week of reflecting, and a week of real concern, at least for our people. So I want to wish you all Shabbat Shalom. And we're going to do something a little fun tonight. Brina's going to lead us in Kabbalat Shabbat. We're going to do a little fun melodies with Carl Bach. And if you don't know Carl Bach, we're going to be working on some of that over the course of the next couple of months to change the tunes a little bit. These are some of my favorites. So I'll turn it over to Brina as we begin with Kabbalat Shabbat.
Thank you, Rabbi. Carl Bach and maybe not so Carl Bach.
There we go.
Something different. We'll begin, as we often do, with Shalom on page 16, as we welcome the angels into our midst, with a melody by Saul Zinn.
Shalom Alechem, Malchei Hashareis, Malchei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamalachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Alechem Leshalom, Malchei Hashareis, Malchei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamalachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Lai, 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 lai. Chuni leshalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamalachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Lasem leshalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamalachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Lai, 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 lai,
Come, let us sing to the Lord. Turn to page 22 and join together. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Adonai. Naria, letzor ishenu, nekadma fanav betoda. Naria, letzor ishenu, b'lirot naria lo. Lechu neranena,
Lechu neranena, Lechu neranena,
Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Adonai. 40 shana akud bedor, v'amaram shoel levavim, v'hem lo yadu derachai, asher nishbati ve'api, im yivohun el menufati. And we turn to page 34 for Mizmor LeDavid. Havil Adonai ben Elim, Havil Adonai kavod vos, Havil Adonai kevod shemo, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרי קודש. קול אדוני על המים, אל הכבוד הרים. אדוני על מים רבים, על מים רבים. קול אדוני בכוח, קול אדוני בהדר, קול אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון. ויקידם כמו עגל, כמו עגל. לבנון וציון כמו בן רעמים. קול אדוני חוצב להבות אש, קול אדוני יחיל מדבר, יחיל אדוני מדבר קדש. קול אדוני יכול אל היערות, ויחשוף יערות ובחכלות. כולו אומר כבוד, כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני רמה בו ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. We turn on page 38 and 40 for Lecha Dodi as we welcome the Shabbat bride and queen. Think perhaps tonight the first two verses on page 38, the last verse on page 40, and as we approach the last verse, we rise and face the back of the room. Lecha Dodi
Likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, Ishmi'anu el ha'miyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki hi makor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, Gam besimcha u'tzohala, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
You may be seated. Turn to page 42
Nice.
for the Psalm for Shabbat. מזמור שיר
ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות, עלי עשה ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
צדיק אתה מה יפרח כארץ בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני בחסרות אלוהינו יפריחו, עד ינובון בשיבה דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי ואלוהיו לטבעות. Continue on page 44.
Nice.
Adonai Malach Geut Lavesh Lavesh Adonai Oz Hitazar Oz Hitazar Avtikon Tevel Timot Nachon Kisachames Melamata Nasu Neharot Adonai Nasu Neharot Kolam Yisu Neharot Dachia Yam Yararara Mikol Maim Rabbi Adirim Mishbereyam Adir Bamarom Adonai
We will continue adding a few new songs. I'm gonna, I think, add a few Karlbach. If we could all learn has anyone heard of the Karlbach melodies? Mm-hmm. So much fun. And so maybe we'll introduce a few. Once you get it, you can't get it out of your head. It is so fun. So we'll add it, and I think we'll do a few of those over the coming months as we start to, no better time to build new songs into our Friday evening service than now. If you agree with me or not, but I think it's now. This is the wonderful time to do it. So I think we'll start doing and adding a few, and but we do continue on page 50 with the Baruch Hu. So please rise as we enter into our official call to worship with the Baruch Hu on page 50.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Please be seated.
Uma'avir yom u'mevi laila, um'avdil ben yom u'ben laila, Adonai tzava'ot shema, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim.
With everlasting love, you have loved the house of Israel, teaching us your Torah, its mitzvot, laws, and judgments. Page 52 for Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha, Ahavta, Torah mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu, limadeta. Al-Kein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shofteinu u'b'kumeinu, Nasiach b'chukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, U'v'mitzvotecha, Le'olam va'ed, Ki hem chayenu, Ve'orech yameinu, Uvahem negeh, Yomam v'layla, Ve'ahavatcha, Tasir mimenu, Le'olamim, Le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael.
Amen. Page 54, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavecha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'odecha, V'hayu ha'dvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinatam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shiftecha b'veitecha, u'v'lechtecha b'derech, U'shoftecha u'v'kanecha, u'shartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu l'totafot b'einecha, u'chtatam al mezuzot beitecha, u'v'hisharecha. Please continue silently on page 56, and then we'll join together on page 58. V'hayim shemoti shemot v'tay asher Elohim etzalechem yom la'avat Adonai Elohecha Page 58. Leman tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti echem me'eretz Mitzrayim li'od lahem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 60. Adonai, mi kamo tehilot, osei fele, Nora tehilot, osei fele. Malchut chara uvanecha, v'ke'ayam lifnei Moshe. Ze Elianu ve'amru, Ze Elianu ve'amru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai et Yaakov u'ga'olo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Ka'al Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Ka'al Yisrael. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot, osei fele, Nora tehilot, osei fele, Nora tehilot, osei fele.
Page 62, Hashkivenu, help us, O God, to lie down in peace and awaken us to life on the morrow, and may we always be guided in your good counsel, and thus find shelter in your tabernacle of peace.
Ushmor tzeitenu v'oheinu, l'chaim u'shalom, me'ata ve'ad olam. Ufros aleinu, sukat shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. They are Yerushalayim.
On page 64, we turn to Vishamru, but before we rise, I just wanted to say the children of Israel, it says here, shall observe the Sabbath, maintaining it throughout their generations as an everlasting covenant. And this word that they translate maintaining is la'asot et Shabbat l'doratam berit olam, la'asot, to make the Sabbath. Right? We've heard that. You have to make Shabbos, but you really have to, what does it mean to do something? What does it mean to make something? What does it mean to build something? What does it mean to lift it up? What is Shabbat other than just a day if it isn't for the people that celebrate it? That's really what the covenant's about. It's between us, certainly, and God, but how is it that we are going to interact with the Sabbath? It's up to you. Now, we all observe and we all do different things on Shabbat. Certainly those who are here or those who are online are coming to services. That is one way to la'asot et Shabbat, to make the Sabbath, to do the Sabbath. But we all know there's something more than just coming to services. What is it? And I think that at times we need to consider what it is that we are doing and what are the statements that we are doing. And I think even more so than just showing up, it is the act that we do from moving from that parking lot into here to getting into your car from your house, and from making the thought into a reality about showing up and being here. This has been a week, if you've been paying attention, that Jews have been attacked, assaulted, hurt, beaten, and that's just in the United States. That's just in Los Angeles. If I were to say this would have happened 2 months ago, you probably would say, really? That sounds a little off. But then you would say, well, maybe. Who knows? Everything's up in the air these days, is it not? So what's really interesting is that as an act, as an act, not so much of defiance, but an act of la'asota to Shabbat, l'doratam berit olam, we continue to come to shul. We continue to show up and we continue to be here as Jews. Showing up, making that very difficult choice to move from your couch to your car, or however else you got here, maybe horseback, don't mean to offend anyone. Maybe you walked, but you got here. You made a commitment to move forward. We all make a commitment to be here. Whether you're online or whether you're here, there is a commitment. La'asot et Shabbat, to lift it up, to make it into something more. It's about us, and that is a huge statement. Because I will say today, Leah and I had the blessing of being able to go to our nephew's ceremony where he put on tefillin for the first time. At 13, young men put on, and women too, put on tefillin for the first time. How special is that? In the middle of a neighborhood where just last week, in that same area, not far, 2 Jews were attacked. 2 separate, I should say, incidences where Jews were attacked simply for being Jewish, simply for looking Jewish. And tonight, Leah told me that there are police monitoring the area on horseback tonight. Interesting, isn't it? It's almost like we've been thrown back to the old world. This symbolism isn't lost on me, that there are people on horseback protecting Jews in their neighborhoods. It should bring up ideas of pogroms. But here's the difference. We are able to go to the police and trust the police. And that is something very, very special. Because I will say this, is that what is different about the United States than other places, if we even feel that anti-Semitism is here, is that there was a time when our people were attacked, and if you ran to the police, that did not mean protection. I want us to think about that for a moment. That synagogues would burn, and if you ran to the authorities, it was not for help. Here we have the authorities here as partners, la'asot et Shabbat, to create an environment in which our Shabbat can continue. We, as a people here, showed up, we make a statement, and we continue to make statements, and we continue to know that there are enemies out there that will us harm, and yet we continue to show up because la'asot et Shabbat, we create the Shabbat. Let us continue coming. Let us show up, and the single best thing we can do is to pack this room at every ceremony that we have and every event that we have. That was just a little side note that I just felt was important. So we rise on page 64 for Vishamru. Thank you, Brina. I went off on a little, okay.
You're entitled, you're the rabbi.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz veshamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Yom Hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם. Let's do Kaddish real quick, page 66.
יתגדל ויתקדש שם מרבה.
Amen.
ועמד יברח ירצה וימליך מלכותה.
בחייכון וביומכון ובחיינו בית ישראל. בגלה, בגלה, ובזמן קריב ויאמרו. אמן. יהי שמרה במבורך. לעולם לעולמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשו ברכו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה דמירה בעלמה ויאמרו. We turn now to page 68 for the Ma'ariv Amida for the Sabbath. It's time for our Shemona Esrei, the prayers that we offer at this moment for the Sabbath. We continue silently up to page 76. When you have completed your prayers, please be seated.
Adonai Svatai Tifta. Adonai Svatai Tifta. Ufi Agib Tehilatecha. Ufi Agib Tehilatecha. Elohai, 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 Letzor leshani mera, Usvatai, 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 Usvatai. Usvatai, Usvatai, Midaber Mirma, Yadai, Yadai,
Brina, before we offer Misha Berach, I just wanted to ask that we turn to page 80. And this is really, there's a midrash here that I want to explain that helps me with this idea of why it's so important that we offer a Misha Berach. What is the purpose of some of these prayers? If you look on page 80, in the middle of the page, it says our share in creation. And it goes on to say, when creating the world, God deliberately made everything a bit incomplete. Instead of making bread grow out of the earth, God made wheat grow so that we might bake it into bread. And instead of making the earth out of bricks, God made it out of clay so that we might bake the clay into bricks. Why? So that we could become God's partner in creation. Beautiful midrash. The reality for many of us is that it is true. God's creation is complete. Do we not agree? That we have everything that we need here. Isn't that right? That we are all complete beings, although at times, if you reflect on your life, it may seem at times incomplete. But that's maybe a deficit of how we have a viewpoint. God's creation, at least the way I've seen it over the past several decades in my life, is that it is complete. In fact, here it is true that the wheat is complete, but it takes a partner to make it into bread. That the clay, it takes a partner to make it into bricks. Because isn't it true that each and every one of us, if you look at your own life, wants to live an enhanced life? Don't you want to be just a little bit happier? Don't you want just a little bit more? Sometimes we express it through maybe buying things, right? Sometimes we express it by going and doing things, whether it's sports. Maybe some of us read, some of us do. It's all the expression of the same thing. We want an enhanced life. We want something a little bit more. So we take, in this case, we take wheat and we turn it into something to eat. We turn it into bread. Some of us like other bread products, like we were talking about cinnamon rolls, right? Cinnamon rolls are good. Some of us take clay and turn it into beautiful architecture, like our synagogue that we're in right now. But that's also true for our prayers. We grab our prayers and we take just our thoughts, which are good. Our thoughts are complete, are they not? We've all had thoughts. They're complete thoughts. Some of them maybe half-baked sometimes, but sometimes these are complete thoughts that when we ask for somebody's health, that we ask from the bottom of our heart that someone we care about, someone that we love, who is suffering physically, maybe mentally, maybe spiritually, that we ask in some way to enhance that moment. And that is why we offer the Misha Berach. It's not good enough at times just to have it in our heads, is it not? So we offer prayers to enhance the thought, to enhance the energy, to enhance the prayer, so that at least the universe or God's creation, however you want to call it, is aware that that is our hope and our desire. So we offer a Misha Berach for those who are in need of healing spiritually, mentally, and physically. Please offer those names out loud right now as we enter into the Misha Berach.
Adonai b'ner Afef. God, only you can bring true healing, and so we pray. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofech olei Amo Yisrael. Blessed are you, Shechinahu, restores our loved ones, heal our people speedily in our day. V'nomar Amen. Refainu Adonai v'ner Afeh. God, only you can bring true healing, and so we pray. Baruch atah Adonai. who restores our loved ones, heal our people speedily in our day. Benomar, Amen.
If we could turn now to page 92. I want to offer two prayers today that we've been adding over the course of the past couple of weeks. On page 92, in the middle of the page, Adonai Eloheinu tzur Yisrael v'go'alo barech et midinat Yisrael v'hagen aleha. If we could read the English together. We ask your blessings, O God, for the state of Israel, for the land of Israel, and for the people of Israel. Bless those who defend the land and protect its people. Bless its leaders with wisdom, courage, and dedication. And may they be resolute in the face of challenge and unwavering in the pursuit of justice and peace. And may Israel be a beacon of hope for the oppressed and source of inspiration to all who are free. Fulfill in our day the ancient prophets. Zion bishmat b'tefet v'shavea b'tzedakah. Zion shall be redeemed through justice and its inhabitants through righteousness. Amen. And let us read just below where it says, for Jewish communities of the world, may God grant the blessing of peace and tranquility, honor and abundance, joy and achievement to our brothers and sisters in Jewish communities throughout the world. And may they know the inspiration of our faith, gain strength from the solidarity of people, and find meaning and hope in our heritage. And may they draw confidence from knowing that they are in our prayers and soon see the fulfillment of their worthy desires. And let us all say, Amen. Just a few words of Torah. I know I've spoken a little bit tonight, but it's really important that we offer these prayers, that these prayers have meaning. And so we send a refuah shlema, refuah nefesh, a refuah gufa, complete and whole healing of mind and body and spirit for those who are in need. We also offer prayers for our siblings in the state of Israel who, although there is a truce, there are still many happenings occurring. And of course, here we offer for all Jewish communities who it is, of course, linked to what is happening in Israel, the increase in anti-Semitism throughout the world. This is the reality. This is the reality. And yet we continue to come, and yet we continue to live in this world, not only with our heads high, but knowing that we are a people who will survive. And that is truth. I wanted to just say some words of Torah, and this has truly been an extraordinary week. A war in Israel and a ceasefire. Anti-Semitism certainly is on the rise. You need to only look for just a moment to some of these statistics. You'll be floored by the increase. In our own city, a caravan of pro-Palestinians drove through West Los Angeles looking for Jews to assault. That happened just the other day. And I don't know if you all had a chance to be on a community-wide conference call that was sponsored by the Jewish Federation. The FBI was on there, local law enforcement, certainly leaders in the community, assemblymen, state representatives. This is something that we cannot ignore. This isn't just something that happens in passing. In many conversations, I don't know if you've had them over the past week or the past couple of weeks, you hear things like, it keeps getting worse, there's so much happening in the world, things are getting bad. Anyone heard all this stuff? Recent polls, though, showing, contrary to many of our experiences online, and if you've been online doom scrolling over the course of the past couple of days, I'm sure you've been, your heart has sunk. If you've had and read anything online. But new statistics are coming out that Israel has had much more support all over the world than what we are seeing online. That's the case. It's all true. Both of those can be true. You've heard commentators over the course, if you're watching any news on TV, using polarizing language, regardless of what side you're on, this side, that side, good and bad. So many people are committed to their identity that they forget who they are. And we've seen this increase over the past couple of years. So committed to people's identity, their own personal identity, who I am, what I'm about, that they forget essentially who they are, period. This confusion, and let's be real, when we're off on so many different directions, thinking about this, that, good, bad, right, wrong, it's impossible to get anywhere. You're confused. We're confused. It breeds more confusion. It's difficult to get clarity. Imagine using a GPS system that keeps recalculating. Anyone done that? You lose the internet or you lose the ability online, and then you are what? You're stuck. You can't go anywhere. You literally can't go anywhere. You never will get where you want if you keep changing direction. Parshat Naso, it was this week's Parsha, has two very interesting episodes right next to each other. Seemingly, they're very different, but a common thread is apparent. Consider the first one. And although this was abolished thousands of years ago, the ritual of the sota waters, not soda waters, the sota waters, reveals an important idea. And this is what the Torah relates regarding this. That if a husband, in a fit of jealousy, accused his wife of being unfaithful, the man was to bring his wife to the priest. The priest was to dissolve some earth from the floor of the tabernacle into some sacred water in an earthen vessel, and the priest was to adjure the woman, and if she was innocent, she would be immune to harm from the waters of this bitterness, but if she's guilty, she would be cursed not to have any children. The priest was to write these curses down, rub the writing off in the water of bitterness, and make the woman drink the water. And if she had broken faith with her husband, the water would cause her, again, not to have children. They're repeating it. But if the woman was innocent, she would remain unharmed and therefore able to have children. So what is this saying? In a situation where a person wants to know an answer, I want to know the answer. I want to know the truth. I want to know what this is about. A ritual is offered. A ritual is offered. Immediately one can know and have all the answers to life's great mysteries. Wouldn't that be interesting? To be able to, you have a concern, somebody's not honest, anyone had a child lie to them, and if you just say, here, drink this soda, and I'll know whether or not you're being honest. That's fantastic, is it not? That's very, very powerful. The use of this water, it's a liquid, we all know that, it's extremely instructive. It represents immediacy. It happens immediately. Liquid absorbs quickly, does it not? Anyone spill anything? It just absorbs very quickly. When you're thirsty, if you drink water, your thirst is pretty much immediately taken care of. Liquids clean up rapidly. We all know that. The water that is ingested in this Torah portion makes for quick detective work in this case, or whether or not somebody is lying, dishonest, not saying the truth. We all want to know things immediately, do we not? We all want the right answers right away. We want what we want when we want it. The world, and this, I should say, would make it easier to live, right? If I had all the answers at my hand, if I wanted to find out how the Palestinian and Israeli conflict would end, that would be great. If I could figure out exactly and immediately how Jews would be treated in Los Angeles. We all want positive endings, do we not? We all want that to work out well. If I had the answer, everything would be okay, would it not? I would be okay. You'd be okay. We could live. If we all knew it, and we all without a doubt knew it, we'd want that, wouldn't we? Wouldn't we? Juxtaposed to these verses is another wonderful little keta, a wonderful little parsha that the Torah talks about the Nazir. The Torah instructs the Israelites about the vows of the Nazarites, and should one wish to set him or herself apart for God, that Nazarite was to abstain from wine, intoxicants, vinegar, grapes, raisins, or anything obtained from the grapevine. No razor was to touch the Nazarite's head until the completion of the term that was set, and the Nazarite was not able to go near a dead person, even a father, a brother, a mother, or a sister. Notice that if someone wants to set themselves apart, they avoid certain liquids. Isn't that interesting? We'll talk about maybe this a little more tomorrow. But if you consume alcohol, do we all know that changes a person rather quickly? right? Especially on an empty stomach, right? You've seen this, or they're in an airplane sitting next to someone and they drink a little liquor and they were not the same person that you were just around a moment. They change very quickly. We've all witnessed how fast liquid absorbs into the system and how it can change the person. This is different from what we read before, though, regarding the sota waters. We abstain from certain liquids because of the fast negative effects. That's why, on one level, the Nazir does that. Because you can't and you ought not change so quickly. You want a spiritual experience, you want to have an experience, what happens? We just talked about it. If you're going this direction and that direction, going this direction, is it easy to get clarity? Absolutely not. If you want to make a showing of spirituality, you need to remove mechanisms that represent acceleration. These two sections drive home the fact that we live in a world in which we want quick, fast answers. We want it now, and it's only getting more and more. We want, when somebody offends us, certainly online, and we see in Facebook, we scroll down and look through the comments to see someone that supports us, do we not? And we look for that instant gratification. We want the quick effect or the rapid solution. You ever hear that? It's like if you're in an interview and people want people that are solution-oriented. You ever heard this one? We want people who figure out solutions. But nobody knows what the problem is. Nobody spends a moment trying to figure out what the problem actually is. We're all looking for solutions, not understanding even the problem. We are constantly and hastily moving through the world, despite the fact that we know it's not helpful. Everyone knows that. You move too quick. You hear statements like, stop and smell the flowers. Slow down a little bit. And yet we continue doing that. If you were here and on your way to the shul and you were in traffic on the way over, you saw this probably 3 or 4 times. Maybe you were part of this. People moving quickly to wait at the next light. How many see this? People just go 60 miles to wait, 60 miles an hour just to stop at the next light and wait. Anger is people miss their signal and they turn into another person, or they weave through lanes to gain what? A few extra minutes to get here? To do what? To sit and wait. We've all done it though, haven't we? Where are we going? What's the rush? Are we often not moving around rapidly to come back to the same old place? Moving quick to just be where we were 10, 15 minutes ago, an hour ago, 2 days ago? Should we not be moving forward? We all agree that we ought to be moving forward. Regardless, we seem to be doing everything with a little bit too much haste. We are too rushed. What is the problem? We are unaccustomed to stillness. This has been the biggest challenge for us this week. No stillness. So much activity, it's hard to sort, difficult to understand. So much to confront, accept, and to consider. And everyone wants it to be done, figured out, concluded, finished. This is what living in haste is. This will never get us to where we want to go. Not having stillness is the worst kind of slavery. Outside pressures demand a reaction from us with haste. We felt it all this week. If you had a knot in your stomach, that's what this was. Looking for solution, looking for it quickly, and not being settled that we just need to be in this, and then we will figure out with clarity where we need to go. If you've been confused this week and you've been pulled in a million different directions, you know exactly what the problem is. We then respond. What happens? Haphazardly and unconsciously. We snap at people. We think we have the right answers. We go back to old ideas. We go back to old answers. It's this, it's that, it's right, it's wrong, it's this side, it's that side. We then run the risk of never getting where we want to go. This is what this Shabbat is for. To scream at us to embrace stillness. Reflect. Get perspective. Respond. Don't react. It is from this place that real solutions will come. Real solutions will come. It is from this place that true peace will spring. Is that not really what each and every one of us are navigating towards? Is a true peace, true stillness, and a true understanding of what it means to have a Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We now continue as we rise on page 118 for the Elena.
No Kaddish Shalom, no Kiddush.
Well, we'll do Kiddush after as we go. So you can do Kaddish Shalem. Thank you. I had it X'd out here. Yep. Kaddish Shalem and then Elena. Amen. Yesh merabah mevorach le'olam le'omaya Yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpara v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shmei l'kudusha
Brichu
le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tishbachata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yama v'yimeru
Amen.
Titkabal salotona v'alaton d'chol Yisrael kodama v'hundi v'shmaya v'yimeru
Amen.
Yehi shloma rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromavu yaseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru.
Amen. Let's do what Brina said. I like that. Page 90. Let's do Kiddush while we're standing, and then we'll go right to Aleinu. So let's remain standing for Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava v'ratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uv'ratzon hinchatanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Chaim. Now we turn to page 118 as we remain standing for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabbat l'adon hakol l'teich gedula l'yotzer breshit Shelo sanu k'vayei ha'aratzot Velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama Shelo sam chelkeinu kahem V'gor aleinu kechol hamonam V'anachnu korim V'mishtachavim u'modim Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu natei shamayim ve'oseh haaretz Mashav yekaro b'shamayim imahal U'shchinatu zo Ve'gov helim eronim Hu Eloheinu einod Emet malkeinu efes zulato Kakatu b'torato V'yakata hayam v'hashevota Elevavecha Ki Adonai hu Elohim b'shamayim ima'al Ve'aharetz Nitachat Einod Okay, Nikimelech.
For sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory, as it is written in your Torah, the Lord shall reign forever and ever, and it has been foretold, the Lord shall be sovereign over all the earth. On that day, the Lord shall be one and shall be acclaimed as one. V'nemar Haya Adonai Lamelech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad. We ask those who are mourning or observing your sight remain standing. May the memories which we cherish and lovingly now recall inspire us so to live that we too may bequeath a heritage of precious memories to those whom we shall leave behind. And in tribute to our departed, may we enrich the lives we touch, and may we share and preserve the faith which our mourners will now affirm as they rise to sanctify God's name in the hallowed words of the Kaddish. And this week's yard sites: Norma Brofman, mother of Linda Zayon; Phyllis Garber, mother of Sherry Mendelson; Evelyn Gross, mother of Ronnie Cohen; Rena Cobran, mother-in-law of Debbie Cadis; Ida Copland, mother of Alan Copeland; Leon Copeland, father of Alan Copeland; Meanie Levine, grandmother of Linda Horton; Phyllis Newman, sister of Jay Bloom; Murray Ross, father of Marcia Zlotnick; Evgenia Shakova, aunt of Olga Kusid; Alex Stelnick, father of Karen Greenberg; Michael Scott Taylor, cousin of Jennifer Schuper; Natalie Wold, mother of Susan Reed. The Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 124. Yit Gadal v'Yikadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma Divrach Chirutei V'amlich Malchutei B'chayechon Uv'yomechon Uv'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'gala Uv'izman Kari V'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah V'orach Le'olam U'me'omaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom bin romav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. May God, who makes harmony and peace in the heights, grant harmony and peace to us, to all Israel and all humankind, and let us all say Amen. I'd like to take a moment to invite up our President, Roger Reiner, for a few announcements. Got a lot of stuff coming up.
Shabbat. Rabbi and Brina, thank you very much for leading a great inspirational service. And thank you to every one of you guys for being here tonight, because it means, I know, a lot to all of us to be able to have a service and have a minyan, and I know it's very, very important to Rabbi and Brina as well. Let's see, Sunday we have a congregational meeting, so I hope more than this shows up for that. That's going to be about 9 o'clock. We'll get everybody roll in. There's free bagels, so hopefully that, and coffee. So please come. Let's see. And later that night, you can join the Sisterhood for a watercolor and collage card project at 7 o'clock on Zoom. Okay, so you have something to do in the morning and then at night. That's great. On Tuesday, Dialing for Dollars at Lazy Dogs, a great restaurant right here in our great Valencia area. Next Saturday is Sedia's Left's bat mitzvah. I just shot her photos up here 3 hours ago, and her father is Hal Dash's nephew. So her father is also a colonel that's been protecting all of us for the last 25 years in the United States Air Force, based out in Edwards Air Force Base, but not for too much longer, unfortunately. And he told me to tell you he orders everyone to pack this room. So he is the colonel, so I said, yes, sir. Okay. And then Sunday, June 6th, is CBS Sisterhood Men's Club and Men's Clubs presents a virtual escape room. That's going to be at 7 o'clock at night. If you ever have never done an escape room, it's a lot of fun and won't take more than hour and a half of everybody's time, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So please join us. They're a lot of fun, and you'll get an idea. And then when we get rid of this thing we're in now, we can actually go to a live escape room. So I'm going to escape from this pulpit right now, Rabbi. And Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. And thank you, Roger, for everything you do. We conclude our service with...
With something different.
I like it.
No. As much as I like it, no. I have something a little different in mind for this evening. Given all that's been going on in Israel and here, yet there is a glimmer of hope at this time. I thought we would end with something that our students actually enjoy quite a bit, courtesy of Abby Bowling. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Last time. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. May there be peace on us and the entire world.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Shalom.